Well, I learned, I think it was early this afternoon, maybe 2 o'clock. So I put extensive preparation into it. And I understand we are being recorded, and this is going to become part of our local history, oral history program. So it will be as exciting as you choose to make it. You have been consumers of all this information. Now you're going to be the ones that are going to give it. So we're not going to prolong it, so if you have some memories that you want to share, jump in. I guess I'd start by talking with those of you who have lived in Petersburg the longest, can remember maybe some Christmases past and what Petersburg looked like, and if it were Berlin, we would accept that too. Think back, and you don't have to be over 50 to play. If you remember some interesting stories that your parents told you about Christmas and what it was like here in the valley, let's hear it. So let's start with a few of us who do have a memory. I had trouble remembering what I had for lunch. What was it like, as far back as you can remember? What stands out in your mind as you think of Christmases past?
Well, the Christmases that I remember are in the church, in the Baptist church. We always had Christmas programs, and we always had a tree that seemed to me as though it reached the rafters. We had these great, enormous trees, and they would be trimmed with the presents that would be given out after the program. There would be a program of music and children reciting Christmas verses and so on. And then the tree would be stripped, and the beads and the combs and the various toys that were given, books in particular, were all hanging on the tree as decorations, as I remember it.
And you know, some of those strings of beads and ornaments burned with the fire.
Is that so?
In a fire that was at the church. But I remember them. They were packed away in boxes.
Wasn't there also on that tree little boxes of candy or little?
Yeah, every child had a box of hard candy.
There was a candy store down on River Street in Troy. You don't go down and buy the 50-pound drum of hard candy and fill the boxes and tie them on the tree.
It's always the big boys' chore to hand out the presents.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of the presents probably didn't make it, but. Okay, good. What else do you remember about early Christmases in Petersburg? What's the most unforgettable Christmas you can ever remember? And one of those?
I remember the stores when they got out their Christmas ornaments and their Christmas toys, and the children like to come from on the way home from school, would like to stop by and see all the toys.
There was no Macy's or Comedy Center where you went shopping. Your gift could have come from one of the stores right here in town. Either Jones and Jones or Waters and Sawyer's or any of those
Big
stores.
Christmas displays.
Right.
They had big
Right.
Christmas displays.
And if you could get out of town, you probably would shop at Lurie's and Music Falls, or you'd go to Troy, you get into the 3 department stores there that I remember were Hardigan's and Freer's and Stanley's. You know. Okay, so the presents were returnable. Didn't have to go far. What else do you remember?
You didn't get many.
Didn't
Lucky,
get
you got 1 or 2, and that was it.
Right. My grandmother did tell a story about Christmas when her parents were very, very poor, and they hung their stockings, and the parents were really in a dilemma. They had nothing to put in them. So when the kids got up in the morning, they found corn cobs in their stockings.
I can tell one. When we were first married, I hung up my stocking, and it was silk. And it kept stretching and stretching. And Bill was in a dilemma. But so we went down to the coal bin, and he felt it was cold.
And the more it stretched, so finally I kind of nodded.
to remember when I went to the Grizzle School down here, we always looked forward to the day or two before Christmas. The teacher would always let us, 3 or 4 of the older boys, go cut a Christmas tree. Well, before we left, we'd always have to fill up the wood box, go over to the brook and get a pail of water in case the girls got thirsty. And then we take off for the Ella Davis farm. That's Stella Green lives now, Erin Green. And she'd always let the school kids have a Christmas tree. Well, we made sure that that took at least until dinner time. Because there was no school after dinner, we had a Christmas party. And most of the decorations the girls would be making, well, we were going to get the tree, and we cut up strips of paper. And the girls would color them, all red, blue, greens, and all the colors you could think of. And then they'd loop them together like 2 rings, and they use flour paste and water, flour rather, and water to make the paste. So they'd have a string of those, and when we come back with the tree, they would have that all ready for us, and the teacher, she usually had a little box of candy or 2 or 3 different lollipops for everybody. And we sung a song, and those that could, and I never could. And that was it. Now we'd come home, and Christmas Eve, I had an aunt from Williamstown, North Adams, and she always came to visit my mother during Christmas season, she and her husband. So she always played tricks on us kids. And but we always made out pretty good. Mother and Dad would always give us, well, one year I remember we got a small pool table. That was for the 4 of us. But we each had our own cube. That was labeled. So we put that up in the attic, and we were quite the heroes for the neighborhood there, the young boys and so forth. But one time I remember in particular, we used to hang our stockings up in the staircase and went upstairs. And well, we'd always find something. We'd leave a piece of cookie or jelly sandwiches, something, a glass of milk and so forth. And this one morning we went down, always got down there before daylight, and we found in our stockings, but in my stocking there was a stick of wood. And it says on it, and I found out later who made it, was my aunt. And so anyway, it says, don't burn any more of this kind of wood. It makes too much soot in the chimney. So we had to sort that wood out. We never left any more of that kind of wood.
Okay, how about Christmas on this side of the room? We're getting ahead of you over here.
I gotta see.
Anyone else have any?
I gotta see what's going on.
Anybody want to share what the funniest gift you ever received might be? Some memory of a very unusual happening at Christmas time for you?
I know you said that Berlin could sneak in.
Berlin made funny.
And we go as far as Berlin Mountain.
Sure.
Because probably Elizabeth remembers this, but apparently the old German church always had a Christmas tree. And when I was young, I remember that my father and probably your father, we had acted one year, and there was a tree that went from the floor to the ceiling, entirely lit by candles, as there were no electricity whatsoever. I don't remember what they put on the tree, but it was that whole presence of kerosene lanterns and the kerosene chandelier and the wood stove. Do you remember that? No, it was just once that we had never done. And it was
this tape now before we stop? Someone else want to share something?
Well, I have a winter memory. It isn't a Christmas memory, but it's a winter memory of the farmers coming out of east of Hill Hollow after a snowstorm. And it was, I would say, in the early 20s. And they came down into the village just in the order they lived in. John Moon would be first, because that was the first farm. And then Oscar Lemire, and Walter Hewitt, and Jack Brimmer. And then at the John Hewitt, and then those people who lived over back there, what was that?
Odell.
Yes, were the last ones. And John Hewitt's wife, Georgia, was always along. Here were these men, it would be noon or after before they'd get to the village, and they would have worked awfully hard because they had to shovel themselves out. And the snow shovels would be on the sleigh, on the woodshod sled, and the horses and the sleigh bells, and it was really a stirring sight to see them. They had conquered nature, and they were very proud when they came, with their milk cans in the back, and Georgia with a fur robe, all dressed up. She could have gone shopping on Fidelity. She was a very handsome woman, and she always came. I don't think that the milk was ever brought to the village that Georgia didn't come to.
And when they couldn't get the road open, of course, they had to drive through the fields up where many lived. That was Oscar Lemire's farm. They had to drive in the fields to get through because the road drifted. And I can remember 8 or 10 working all day long with shovels on the little hill there by Ray Bagoopies to open the road. And until that was open, we drove the horses through the fields where the snow didn't drift. Yeah, I remember that procession. Anyone else? Oh, thank you. That was interesting.
Some carols. Nancy's going to play for us. And the piano is courtesy of the ladies.
Well, I don't know just what's going on. I can tell you where it is up on Blue Road. I don't know if it's finished. I couldn't catch that here. But the boys are gone. They'll take care of the situation.
Where is this one?
North Petersburgh off Rabbit College, Will Jones and Road. Up in there.
There should be enough carols to go around. Perhaps a few people will have to share, but we have nearly enough for everyone. Selected 3 hopefully well-known carols. We're not going to sing 16 verses of each of them. I've deleted some of the verses, but so that we can do a sampling of the carols. We have a keyboard, compliments of the Lindsays tonight, thanks to the Lindsays. And we'll finish with We Wish You a Merry Christmas. The first one, The First Noel. I'll do an introduction, and I'm sure you'll know what to do. Okay, sing.
Angels did say,
your notes, and then you will have earned your supper. Our piggy pudding. We won't go until we get some. Just once through. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your King. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. Give yourselves a hand. No, you may have them.
There's also some recipes that people want.
Actually, you can take the accompaniment to play over a glass or something. No, hang on, but what did you do?
Play this keyboard tonight, it's gone to her head. This is now her high tech all the way.
Oh, but you gotta have really good singers for that, for parts.
Well, I still have recorded.
Black powder seems to go for another week. Black powder. On fire about here's a bunch of ball with us. So get a week of that. Oh yeah? Big beer drink in there. You should, that's a common feeling, they get an out-trained people, they get jealous.
I